Shalom and welcome to Parsha Highlights and Insights. This is Rabbi Fischer. This week's Parsha is Pinchas. We continue the story of Bnei Israel in the wilderness, and much of this Parsha prepares us for what the life is going to be like once they do enter the land. This is a great deal of foreshadowing. The parasha, we might say, is divided into 6 parts. In the first part, we have a continuation of the end of last week's parasha, in which Pinchas, the grandson of Aharon, helped to stop the spread of the plague that Hashem was bringing on Bnei Yisrael because of their sins, by killing the Israelite man and the Midianite woman who were involved in a terrible sin. And so the plague was continuing until Pinchas intervened and killed the two of them. And the Torah begins by telling us that Pinchas is going to be rewarded in 2 ways. One is he will have the kahuna, he will be part of the priesthood. The reason why that's important to point out is Pinchas was born before the family of Aharon was chosen to be the Kohanim, so Aharon and his sons at the time, and Pinchas was originally not included in that because he was born before. However, as a result of this, Hashem says that he is going to be a Kohen, and his descendants will always be Kohanim. And the other bracha that he receives is a covenant of peace. And we'll say more about that later. In the next part of the parasha, Hashem tells Moshe that the time has come to attack Midian for what they did by inciting Hashem's anger against Bnei Israel by making Bnei Israel sin. And so that is what's going to be done to them. But the attack on Midian requires some preparation, which brings us to the next part of the parasha. Torah says that Hashem speaks to Moshe and to Aaron and tells them to take a census of the people. Part of that is in order to know who's available for the army, for the attack on Midian. But another purpose is to prepare for the division of the land of Israel, because it's going to be divided up according to the population. So it's important to know how many people there are, not only in every shevet, in every tribe, but even every subdivision, every family within every tribe. Because on the basis of that the land will be divided up. And so we have a detailed census of Bnei Israel by tribe and by family, as well as a separate census of the tribe of Levi, because after all, their census has to be separate because they don't inherit land together with Bnei Israel. And so we are told about the census of Bnei Israel, and this is in preparation for the entrance to the land. Now, because we've been talking about the division of the land, we come to the next part of the parasha, the daughters of Tzilophaad. They are the 5 daughters of Tzilophaad who came from the tribe of Menashe. And in discussing the division of the land, according to those who had left Egypt, or at least partially with them in consideration, the daughters of Tzilophaad make the argument that their father's inheritance, or the land that would have been given to their father and his descendants, is not going to be given to him and is not going to have his name on it simply because he left no sons as heirs. And so they make the argument that they should receive his inheritance so that his name will be attached to a segment of the tribe of Menashe. And this suggestion is taught here. And we're taught that if a man dies without sons, his daughters inherit. And the Torah also gives us more details of the laws of inheritance. The fifth part uh, of the parasha is that Moshe must prepare to die. Hashem tells Moshe that he has to get ready to die, and in response, Moshe requests that he have a successor. He talks about what kind of a person should he be. Should be someone who can lead the Bnei Israel with all of their difficulties and their diversity. And Moshe and it is told that Yehoshua is to be ordained for this task. He will be the successor to Moshe, and Yehoshua is actually endowed rather with prophecy. The next and last part of the parasha, which is also a large section of the parasha, is the Torah talks about the korbanot that are part of the sacrificial order of the year. We generally refer to these as the Tamidim and the Musafim. Tamidim are the daily sacrifices. There's a korban tamid that is brought in the morning and another one in the evening or in the afternoon. And then the Torah proceeds to talk about the Musafim, the additional sacrifices that are given on various special occasions. And the Torah goes into detail about the sacrifices of Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh, beginning of a new month, and Pesach, and Shavuot. And even in that context, we are reminded about all of these festivals and what distinguishes many of them. After Shavuot, we're told about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret. So parts of this Torah reading would be familiar to us during the year as well, because excerpts from it are read on the appropriate occasions. And in that way, by teaching us about the sacrifices, we also have a look into the future that when the Bnei Israel will be in the land of Israel and the Mishkan will be established, then the sacrificial order will be at its fullest. Let's return to the beginning of the parasha, where Pinchas is to be told that, first of all, that he successfully removed Hashem's anger against Bnei Israel, so that he did not destroy the children of Israel. And therefore, Hashem says, "L'chein emor, hineni noten lo et briti shalom." Behold, I grant him my pact of peace. And it says that he's going to be a Kohen, and it's going to remain in his family forever. And this is in reward for what Pinchas did. The Netziv, Rav Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, in his commentary on the Torah, which is known as the Ha'amek Davar, wants to investigate why is Pinchas given a covenant of peace. The first idea is, well, since Hashem took away Hashem's anger and restored peace between Hashem and Bnei Israel, so it's only right that Pinchas's reward should be a reward of peace. But furthermore, says the Hamek Dava, is that Pinchas himself will be a person of peace. He will not be quick-tempered. He will not get angry easily. Um, and the reason why Pinchas gets this is not only because it is uh, measure for measure what he did um, for Hashem to remove the anger, but also because after an act of zealousness, such as Pinchas did, it is entirely possible for the opposite of peace to settle in a person's uh, mind and character. Um, and therefore, he gets a covenant of peace because he needs it. He especially needs it that he will not be in an intense emotional state of unrest, but rather he would be in serenity and peace. And the reason for this is that Pinchas's active zealousness was motivated for the by the right purposes. It was l'shem shamayim, it was for the sake of heaven, and therefore the bracha is that he will remain in a state of serenity and peace, and this will be for his benefit. I thank you all for joining me in the discussion of Parashat Pinchas. This has been Rabbi Fischer for Parsha Highlights and Insights, saying Shalom.